It certainly does. Right, moving on to other news now. And inmates at Oakington Immigration Detention Centre near Cambridge have refused to let guards get to the body of a man who died there this morning.
The death isn't being treated as suspicious, but the inmates' anger has sparked a tense standoff this evening. Ramsay sent us this report.
Things may look quiet here at the detention centre, but the events of today are far from that. A group of 200 inmates held a detainee's body hostage over the way they claim he was treated before his death. Now, this is a 40-year-old man from Kenya who died at around 5 to 4 this morning. At around 10 o'clock this morning, 200 inmates prevented officers from reaching the man's body. A small group managed to break through an internal security gate, but they didn't get as far as the outer fence. An entire wing of the unit was evacuated while officers dealt with the incident. Cambridgeshire police say the man's death isn't being treated as suspicious. The UK Border Agency told us they're working with other authorities to manage this situation.
Ramsay there. Well, politics now, and it was the Green Party's turn to launch its election manifesto today, unveiling the party's policies in Brighton. Party leader Caroline Lucas said their overall aim was to make Britain a greener and much fairer society, with economy and the environment at the heart of their manifesto. One of the main target seats for the party at the general election is Norwich South.
We've got a fantastic chance of winning in the Norwich South constituency. People know that if they want to make a real impact at this election, then electing a Green will have far more of an impact than one more person on the Labour or Lib Dem benches.
Well, next, the debate that's expected to grip the nation. At 8:30 tonight, the three leaders, Gordon Brown, David Cameron and Nick Clegg, will all take part in the first ever televised debate of its kind here in the UK.
It's estimated around 65% of the population will watch tonight's hour-and-a-half-long debate, and an ITV survey has found that half of them could be swayed by the showdown. Well, our political correspondent, Matthew Hudson, is in the Red Lion at Wilstead in Bedfordshire, where they'll be watching the debate. Matt, good evening. Is it too early to tell, but is there a sense of expectancy there yet?
There certainly is, and Willsey, don't read anything too much into the colour of the lion. I'm here to watch the debate with a pub full of voters, and we and everybody else will be watching political and television history being made as the three leaders go head-to-head. A real antidote for people who say that politics is all about headlines and sound bites and messages. 4.5 hours in total over 3 debates, the leaders will be talking. A real chance for people to get to understand their policies and perhaps decide which of the candidates they trust the most. Now, of course, they've had these kind of debates in the United States for many years. What's in it for the candidates? Well, it's a chance to land that killer punch, to make that remark that everyone will remember. Of course, on the flip side, there's also a chance that one of them will say something utterly terrible that they live to regret. We've got an example here. Vice Presidential hopeful Dan Quayle being well and truly put in his place.
I have as much experience in the Congress as Jack Kennedy did when he sought the presidency.
Jack Kennedy was a friend of mine. Senator, you're no Jack Kennedy.
That was really uncalled for, Senator.
That remark, of course, still resonates in the United States. Was it cruel? Yes. Was it effective? Yes. Was it compelling television? You betcha. Now, the future 2 debates, they'll concentrate on foreign affairs and the economy, but tonight on ITV1, it's all about home issues, so expect to hear debate about education, about health, about law and order, and about immigration, issues that real voters really care about.
Thank you, Matthew. Well, that historic debate here on ITV1 tonight kicks off an evening of analysis and election news. So that's 8:30 for the first election debate, hosted by Alistair Stewart.
Then, after the news at 10, and our very own web watcher, Tom Barton, is in Manchester for the first election debate. He'll be tweeting us from behind the scenes throughout the evening. That's at Tom Barton, ITV.
And before all that, there's plenty still to come here.
Hundreds of mourners gathered this afternoon to pay their respects to a soldier from Chelmsford who died in an explosion in Afghanistan.
Lance Corporal Scott Hardy was serving with the 1st Battalion, the Royal Anglian Regiment, when he was killed by an improvised explosive device during an operation in Helmand Province. Martin Stew reports.
Lance Corporal Scott Hardy was an extraordinary soldier with an extraordinary passion for life. Fitting then that on such a sombre day, he could still bring a smile to the face of those who loved him. Corporal Hardy was killed last month in an explosion in Helmand Province. He was 26. Today at Chelmsford Cathedral, Sarah Charman read the words written by Corporal Hardy's childhood sweetheart and partner for 10 years.
Dear Scott, you are my lover, my soldier, my hero and my best friend. To me, you were my everything, from beginning to end.
Corporal Hardy is the 5th soldier from the Royal Anglians to have died on the current tour of Afghanistan.
When he joined the battalion in the summer of 2007, we were engaged in heavy fighting with the Taliban in Helmand Province at that time. That's a big ask for any soldier to come into that environment, and he faced up to the challenge straight away.
As well as the 700 mourners in Chelmsford Cathedral, hundreds have lined the streets here to pay their last respects to a soldier described as bringing life to any room he walked into.
It's very sad because it's ordinary families that are, you know, ordinary grannies and granddads.
A young fella to give his life away just like that, I mean, I think it's a proud thing for the town, you know.
Well, a long time ago I was in the forces myself, and I think there's a bond still to all service people.
Corporal Hardy was buried in a private ceremony this afternoon.
Every day is going to be hard without you. Your laughter, laugh and joy will be with us forever. Sadly stolen, but never ever forgotten. We love you always.
Martin Stew, Anglia News, Chelmsford.
A man has been electrocuted during a burglary at an electricity substation in Ipswich. Paramedics found the body of the 30-year-old when they were called to the scene at Ransom's Way late last night. Officers discovered that the doors at the rear of the building had been forced and cutting tools were found there. A second man waved the ambulance down but then disappeared. Police say it's unclear whether the dead man was a burglar or trying to actually stop the raid.
It is actually a very tragic event, and it does highlight the hazards that are available in these substations. People shouldn't go in there unless they're fully trained and fully authorised to enter these substations.
A 47-year-old man being questioned over the disappearance of an Essex barmaid who went missing 10 years ago has been released on bail. Nicola Ray, a mother of 2, was last seen after she waved goodbye to a friend and headed home after a night out in Basildon. Police today continued to dig up the garage floor of the house she used to live in.